Dude, so I just watched this podcast with, I didn't watch it. What am I talking about? I listened to it. It was Chris Williamson and Naval Ravikant. And this guy was spitting fire. So the first thing he says right off the top is he's like, not wanting something is as good as having it. And right there, I was just like, damn, this is going to be fire. Not wanting something is as good as having it. Like, yeah, dude. You literally can just like not want stuff. You know how people just be like, I'll be having things. Like think about like any rap music video, like the ones I used to listen to when I was a kid on like VH1 and MTV. And they would just be like, yo, I'll be having things. Oh, damn, why's my Buddha right here? Put him right over here where he belongs. Yeah, dude, how about you just like don't want stuff? Like, why are you like trying to have all this stuff? How about you just don't want it? And then that's just as good as having it. Like all this I can't cuss in the first few minutes. So I'm always messing myself up with that. I got to wait at least a few minutes before cussing, but it's hella hard because I be cussing all the time. All right, check this out. You know all this stuff that you want? I want to get the Ferrari and the nice house and how about you just like don't want it? And then it's literally just as good as having it. Like, I want to be famous. I want to get the cash, bro. How about just don't well, actually, anything you say can be taken to an extreme and then proven incorrect, right? So what is that, like straw manning an argument where you're just like, well, if you take it to the extreme and you have no money, then you can't buy food. So why are you saying that? It's like, all right, dude, that's not what I mean. I mean just like all the extraneous shit that's like, oh, like I want to have this like stuff that doesn't actually help me in any meaningful way, but it's just hella cool and it makes me look dope. Well, just like don't want that. And then literally it's the same as having it. And it's way easier too than grinding for years to try to get it. Anyways. He also was like, the journey is the only thing there is, which is fire because it's like, you know how it's like, try to enjoy the journey. You know, you really should enjoy the journey because that's where it's like, no, there is no destination, dude. The journey is the only thing there is because at the end of the day, everything goes to zero. So why would you like sit there and be like, when I have this, then everything, man, I'm feeling goofy today, bro. I just got done with the gym. So I'm kind of like ate some food and stuff. I was going to make a video this morning and then I was like, I feel lazy. So now I'm like catching up and yeah, I'm feeling goofy. Yeah, dude, everything goes to zero. So what does it matter? Like the journey is the only thing there is, which is why he says, no one is going to beat you at being you. So if you're trying to think of what to do, first of all, he was like, spend hella time trying to decide because what happens is like when you decide to do something, you end up going like other stuff happens because of what you decide. So let's say you decide to be an I was going to say like astrophysicist and then you discover a new planet and then you go to that planet. That I'm like, what am I talking about? No, but you know what I mean? Like literally when you get a job and then you meet people at that job and then they like introduce you to somebody else, it helps you get a better job. Like everything compounds on itself. And this can happen over hella long. So let's say you choose a new career because you're like, I want to be a lawyer. I watched that podcast with that divorce lawyer and he looks super cool. So I'm going to be a divorce lawyer. It's like, okay, how long did it take you to make that decision? And now you're going to dedicate like 20 years of your life to being a divorce lawyer. And by the way, if you decide later that you don't want to do it, you've already like sacrificed hella years and hella of your time and energy to like becoming a divorce lawyer. So like spend more time figuring out the big decisions of like, who do you want to be with? Where do you want to live and what do you want to do? Like those three things. And try to like actually seriously consider all of the, like for example, if you live in a certain place, that's going to limit who you can meet and it's going to limit what you can do to a certain extent. So like all those are super important and spend more time trying to figure out each one because like that's going to affect everything else. And those effects are going to compound over years and years. So it's even more consequential and important that you pick those three correctly. So spend a lot of time thinking about the big decisions and less time thinking about these like small decisions that don't matter in the end. So yeah, the journey is the only thing there is. So try to like make the right decisions with that because everything goes to zero anyway. So it doesn't matter. And no one is going to beat you at being you. Basically, he was like, productize yourself, which kind of sounds like a weird way of saying exploit and productize your personality. I guess maybe like that's what I'm doing right now. But like also I would just be making these videos even if nobody fucking watched them. So it doesn't matter. But basically he was like, if you're worried about competition, realize that like if you're just being you, then nobody can compete with you on that. And it's something you can just do forever and forever. So if you can take you, like the things you're good at or the things that you enjoy doing, and somehow like make that make money, then you're going to beat everybody. Well, I mean, not everybody, but like you can just do it infinitely because you're not like trying. Like this isn't like when I'm doing this, I'm not like, oh, damn it, time to make a video. Like I never feel that way. I only make videos where I'm like, all right, I need to talk about some shit. So it's like, I mean, literally I would go on walks with people for hours and they would be like, oh, it's the Ilya podcast, because I would just be like brain dumping on them all the shit that I learned recently. And they'd be like, dude, hold up. So now I'm like, hey, I could just do that to the camera. Maybe people will listen. Maybe they'll get something out of it. So it's already something that I was doing for years, even before like this or anything like that. I was always doing this. So yeah, dude, no one's going to beat you at being you. And also, if you enjoy doing something, you'll do it more and you'll be more successful at it. So like, I'm kind of leaning less and less recently towards this idea I had before, where I was thinking that like you just need to figure out the optimal like business to build that will make money and have the least amount of time that you're spending working on it so that you can spend time doing what you love. Now I'm kind of thinking like, why spend any time on that business where you can just do what you love and monetize that? Not to say that I'm able to monetize what I'm doing now, but like literally, if you just do more of what you enjoy, eventually you will be able to monetize it because you're just going to do it all the time, which is going to give you more opportunities to be successful at it. And the other thing he says is like, do something that feels like play to you and looks like work to others. So like, there's tons of people there's one guy in particular I met at a meetup one time. So I went to this meetup. It was like a discussion meetup, and there was this dude I was talking to afterwards, and he was like, yeah, I'm trying to build like this media brand and all this stuff and da 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 da. And he's like, I saw that you made a YouTube video, and like, he's like, yeah, I keep thinking I want to make a YouTube video, but I haven't gotten around to it. I have to buy the right camera and equipment and stuff like that. And the way he was talking about it, it almost seemed like something that was like this big job and this big thing where as soon as he finally got everything perfect, you could make the perfect YouTube video and then he would be done. And I'm just sitting there looking at it. I'm like, dude, like, it sounds like this is work to you. And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, do you enjoy talking in front of a camera and like sharing your thoughts and making videos? He's like, no. And I'm like, well, dude, are you sure that's what you want to do then? Because like, it kind of seems like that's not something that feels like play to you. So Naval says, do something that feels like play to you, but looks like work to others, because then you're just going to do it like regardless. And it's a perfect fit to something that, because it looks like work to others, it probably has some sort of value. It's not like sitting on the couch, like, cool, that looks like play to me. Well, it looks like play to everyone, dude. Like you're everyone feels that way. But like something that feels like play to you, like for me doing this or like music stuff feels like play to me, but it looks like work to other people, where they're like, oh my God, they're laboriously thinking about how they're going to set up the YouTube thing and all of the perfect script. Am I queuing the content correctly? It's like, dude, it doesn't matter to me. I literally just do it. And it feels like play to me. So find something like that for you. Going back to, he was like, the biggest mistake in a world of infinite possibilities, because like, he's like, making money is still difficult, but right now it's easier than ever before. And he was like, he was also saying like, if I was the best, public speaker or content creator, but it was like 200 years ago, I probably wouldn't like if you're like a peasant in the 1800s or the 1600s, the chances of you like rising out of your class structure are really low. It's still possible, obviously, but it was way, way lower. So it's like, we have this world now of like literally infinite possibilities. The biggest mistake in a world of infinite possibilities is premature commitment. So he was like, that's why he was saying like, you need to think hella hard about what you're going to commit to, dude. Remember, the people that you surround yourself with, the place you live and what you do, think way harder about that, because the problem is like, there's so many possibilities. The chances of you finding something better or more suited to your ability, or somebody that you're more compatible with, or something that you enjoy doing more, is super, super high. So if you just prematurely commit to something, you're literally cutting yourself off. And I think it was Charlie Munger that was saying like, one of the things that trips him up and even trips up other really smart people that he knows is this thing where they don't see the other options of what they could have chosen because that life hasn't played out for them. So I forget what the name for this is. It's like something like, Fuck it. I'll never remember it. But basically he's like, you forget the opportunity cost. That's right. He was like, you forget the opportunity cost of the other stuff that you didn't do because you made this decision. And like, that's the thing that messes people up hella bad, because they don't think about the opportunity cost of like being with this person or doing this business or whatever. Every decision that you make, subconsciously or consciously, there's a huge opportunity cost that you're not realizing. And that's why, like, the biggest mistake in a world of infinite possibilities is premature commitment. That's also why he says, if you can't decide, the answer is no. If you're like, should I do this thing? Should I not do this thing? Well, I don't know. He's like, just say no. Just say no, because there's so many opportunities. You can find one that there's another quote by, I think it was something, Derek Sivers. He made a CD Baby, this company, a long time ago. And he was like, it's either a hell yes or it's a no. If when you're trying to make a decision, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Somebody else told me that was how they chose music for a DJ set too. They're like, it's either a hell yes or it's a no. If it's kind of like, I kind of like this song, it's a no. And then the last point is like, there's somebody that was talking about making decisions for hiring. And they were saying that like, if you rate somebody on a scale from 0 to 10, you cannot choose 7, because 7 is like I'm hiding behind this answer. It's not too high, it's not too low, and then people won't judge me for rating this person a 7. Like, people that really like the person are going to be like, what 7? Like that's the safe answer. So he's like, you have to rate this candidate from 0 to 10, but you cannot use 7. That's another way of phrasing this. Like, it's either a hell yeah or a no. And that's why Naval says, if you can't decide, the answer is no. But yeah, dude. The other thing he was saying is like, when you're trying to choose this stuff, especially with like business stuff, he's like, if you don't lie awake at night thinking about it, you don't want it badly enough. Which to me, I'm super guilty of, because I don't lie awake at night thinking about shit. I literally just go to bed. But like, maybe that's because I haven't found something like that where I don't want it badly enough. I don't know, man. To me, that's kind of like, all right, dude. That's a little bit like dramatic and like, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you could argue maybe I just haven't found that thing for me. So I don't know. I know there's people out there that do have stuff like that, where they're like lying awake in bed thinking about like, how am I going to change the world and do this thing? I feel like I used to do that when I was younger, and now I just kind of don't give a shit. But maybe that's just me being pessimistic. I don't know. But yeah, damn, it is hot as fuck in here, dude. What the fuck is up with my AC? I got to fix this shit. I feel like I complain about this in every single video. Maybe I'm just like getting hot because I'm talking so much. Damn. Hold on a second. All right. It's about to get cold as fuck in here. All right. Foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. That's fire. You know what he's talking about? He's saying, stop doing things you don't want to do. Foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. He basically goes on this tirade where he's talking about how like he just doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do. He's like, I don't go to weddings, I don't go to birthday parties, I don't do shit that I don't want to do, I don't take meetings I don't want to take, I don't keep a schedule. He was like, he was saying like, when my wife asked me, he's like, my wife knows that like she just can't invite me to shit. So when people ask her to like invite him, she's like, ask him, he makes his own decisions. And she never schedules anything for him as far as like, we got to go to this couple's dinner together. He's just like, no, dude. And same for her, same for him to her. But yeah, he was saying like, if you're doing shit just to be consistent, but it's not what you actually want to do, that's called foolish consistency, and you should just cut that shit out, dude. See, I think it's been enough time now where I can start cussing more. It's like so hard for me to like edit that out of my initial like few minutes. Maybe it's a myth. Maybe it's not even real. Maybe you can just cuss like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to stop trying to edit myself, dude. I'm just going to start cussing to the videos. It's way easier for me to talk if I just talk normally. But yeah, dude, don't be on that foolish consistency shit, dude. Otherwise you're on that you're on that hobgoblin shit. You're a little goblin out here. You little goblin. Okay. There's too many quotes here, so I'm going to break this up into 2 videos, but, the reason to play the game is to win the game and be done with it. What's he talking about? I think he's talking about like, you know how you hear people that are like billionaires and they're still working super hard to make the money. And on one hand, it's like, are they enjoying that? On the other hand, it's like, well, maybe they are, but like, I feel like some of them definitely aren't. And a lot of them probably are hella not happy. A lot of them are probably just like, I gotta win the game. I gotta win the game more. They keep moving the goalposts. So it's like, The reason to play the game is to win the game so you can be done with it. So whatever game you're playing, whether it's a social game, a status game, money, business, like whatever the case is, you want to win the game and be done with it. If you like playing it, you can replay it or you can keep playing it. But like, that's not the point of games. The point of games is to win them so you can find the next game. So if you're playing a game and you keep playing the same game and you're kind of thinking like, I don't know, like if you're not happy playing the game you're playing, consider just like either letting it go. This is just my interpretation. Consider letting it go and being like, let me focus on something else and just play a new game. Like, why do you even have to play this game that you're playing? Either to get higher status or to make more money or to grow your business, or like ask yourself why you're doing this. Why are you playing this game? There's an infinite amount of games to play. There's even a book about it that I haven't read it. I don't know the name, but I've heard about it, and it's a really good book apparently. The Games We Play. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know the name. But basically, like the reason to play the game is to win the game and be done with it. Actually, you know what? This one, fuck it. Forget everything I said. Let's move on because I don't know about this one. I need to think about this some more. Pride. Yeah. Pride is the enemy of learning. So what's he talking about? Pride is the enemy of learning. Yeah, dude, you have to, what's the one? I feel like I keep attributing quotes to like either Seneca or Marcus Aurelius, and they're all just like not from those people at all. But basically, it reminds me of a quote by probably one of those dudes that's like, and I'm feeling goofy, that was like, yeah, if you wish to be great at something, be content to look foolish. And so what they're saying is like, yo, if you're all prideful and shit and you're like, man, I'm hella good, dude, I got this shit, don't even worry about it. It's like, all right, well, you're not going to learn shit because you're going to be scared to look like an idiot. Like, I think it was Adventure Time, the cartoon where they were saying, the cartoon for adults, where they were saying that like, the guy was like worried about like starting something and he's like, I'm going to look bad. And then the little yellow dog was like, dude, kind of sucking at something is the first step towards learning and to be good at something. And that's actually hella true. Like, you kind of just have to be content to look foolish and just kind of just look hella dumb for a while. And yeah, dude, if you don't have any pride about it and you're just like, I'm just going to learn and look dumb, then eventually you'll look hella good and people will be like, damn. But anyways, another one, he's like, if you're so smart, why aren't you happy? Damn, that shit hit me hard. I was like, that's hella true, dude. If you're hella smart, then how come you're so smart, you haven't figured out how to be happy? Damn, my whole screen is shaking when I drop my arms on my table. That's crazy. Yeah, dude, look, I have hella other videos where I talk about being happy, so I'm not going to talk about that right now, except for a little bit. If you're so smart, why aren't you happy? Yeah. I mean, probably because I think the reason he's saying that is because he sees a lot of people that think they're hella smart, but then they get stuck playing these games they don't like. They get stuck in these status games of constantly moving the goalposts and wanting more and more, or they're overthinking all the time, or they've chosen the wrong people to be with, or the things to do, or the places to live. I'm trying to like tie this one into like hell of his other quotes, and it's totally not working. But basically, just ask yourself that, dude. You think you're smart? All right, then why aren't you happy, bro? Inspiration is perishable. Act on it immediately. Okay, this is some real shit because I can't tell you how many times I've been like, damn, I came across like some marketing strategy on X and I was like, damn, this is hella dope. And I'm like screenshotting it and I just completely move on and forget about it. And it just goes into my screenshots and I don't see it for like 2 months. I remember going through and digging out screenshots that I saved in Google Drive from past phones that had like marketing stuff from like 10 years ago that I literally never looked at. And I was like, holy shit, this would have helped me 10 years ago. There's so much stuff that's like, I was inspired by something and then I just like hella didn't do it. I'm like, I'm going to bookmark this and come back to it later at some undefined moment that's never going to happen. And the problem is that if you're inspired to do it right now, when you come back to it later, maybe you won't feel that way, dude. Maybe you'll be like in another mind space and you won't want to do it. So like, that's why he's like, I don't keep a schedule. I don't keep a calendar. I just be out here getting inspired and then immediately acting on that shit. Like literally immediately just being like, oh, damn, this is super dope. So how would I use this? If I'm like scrolling on X, I find a marketing tactic. Look, I'm hella guilty of this. Part of the reason I'm doing these quotes is to like remember them so I do this more. Because this is something I'm hella bad at, which is like inspiration is perishable, so act on it immediately. If you see some shit and you're inspired to learn more about it, just go down the rabbit hole. And that's part of like, he was talking about being free, where he's like, if you're just free and you just don't care about like all these commitments that like somehow society puts on you, where you're like, I gotta go to this kid's birthday party, and then I gotta go and like do this stuff that I don't really want to do. He's like, if you just don't do any of that, then you have all this free time, and then you can allow inspiration to like take you there, where you're like, oh damn, this is super dope. Let me learn everything about it and go down this wormhole and rabbit hole for like 10 hours where I'm just like learning all this shit. But you couldn't do that if you had a full calendar. That goes back to Paul Graham's maker versus manager schedule. It's a really short essay, but he basically, Paul Graham, he's like, I think the founder of Y Combinator. He was talking about how like people live their lives based on maker or manager schedule. And you should read the essay. But basically one of the things that it reminded me of is like, the makers are the ones that are like coding, and they're like building, and they're artists, and they're like people that create things. And the managers are the ones that are like scheduling and blocking their day into like 15-minute increments. And the problem when these two people collide is that, like, let's say you're coding, which I don't know how to do, but from what I've heard, I have friends that do it. If you have like all of this details about your project in your mental RAM, and somebody interrupts your shit and you have to go do a meeting, that RAM gets flushed. And then later when you come back to it, it takes like sometimes 30 minutes or even an hour just to get back into that mental frame, to boot up, to put everything back into the mental RAM so you can start coding again. So it's like a maker schedule is something where you don't want to get interrupted with these meetings and all this stupid, erroneous bullshit that doesn't matter. And then a manager is somebody that's like managing other people's time, so they have to be on that manager schedule. So basically he was saying like, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah. So if you're on the maker schedule, it's way easier to let inspiration just like guide you and to help you to learn. And he was saying that like the best way to learn is when you're having fun, when you're inspired to learn something. Like I know you felt, have you felt that way before? Where you're like, oh damn, you like learn some shit in Ableton about how to make music. You learn some new way of using AI to like automate some shit. Or you're like, oh damn, this new marketing tactic, this could really help with my business. And you're genuinely curious about it. You're like learning more about it, searching, oh snap, I found some more threads on it. Hey Grok, help me to like you're just going hard and you're learning this stuff. This is perishable, this feeling. So act on it immediately. Don't put it off until later and be like, later I will feel inspired. It's like, you feel inspired now, dude. So keep a maker schedule. Have to the greatest extent possible, have as much free time as possible. I actually just watched the interview, like a rare interview with Michael Jordan, where he was saying the same thing, where he's like, dude, I like it where I don't have commitments, and I'm just like, I wake up and I'm like, damn, I don't have to do anything today. He was, I think he was 54 at the time of this interview, and he was like, I like waking up and not having shit to do that day, or the next day, or the next day. Because then he's like, the stuff I choose to, and then the interviewer was like, well, why are you doing this interview then? And he's like, well, I chose to do it. But the point is he's not like, oh shit, I got all these commitments I got to do in the next few days. Fuck. Like that's where he's like, I hate living like that. And so Naval is basically saying the same thing. I mean, these two great people from completely opposite side of the world are saying the exact same thing, which is like, just have a maker's schedule where you have these giant blocks of free time so that you can act on inspiration when it arises, because it's perishable. So act on it immediately. Okay. And then the other thing tying into that is he's like, spontaneity is important. Like, you learn best when you're having fun. Did you learn a bunch in school? Did you learn a shit ton in school? I fucking didn't, as you can probably tell, because it wasn't spontaneous. It was like, today we are learning about Christopher Columbus. And I was like, I hella don't give a shit about this or anything else I'm learning today, which is why most people probably don't remember a ton of what they learned in school. Maybe that's not you. Maybe school was great for you. For me, I was like, dude, this is boring as fuck. I don't care about this. But on the other hand, let's say I was learning about some new like plugin in Rekordbox or something. I could spend an hour, or like, let's say Ableton, or back in the day we used to make beats on our laptops on Fruity Loops. And I remember, or like even before that, it was like Techno EJ, like all these generations of like software to make music on the computer. And I remember spending hours trying to learn this stuff. Like, there's this VS plugin that allows you to, and I would like learn about it and try to like look up articles on it. And I spent hours doing this, but then like, it's like homework for 30 minutes. I'm like, oh God, I hate this, right? So it's like, spontaneity is important. You learn best when you're having fun, which ties into the thing I said earlier that I can't remember now, so I have to look it up, which is that like, if you enjoy doing something, you'll do it more and you'll be successful at it. So spontaneity is important. inspiration is perishable. Act on it immediately. Anyway, where are we at? 25 minutes? Dude, I've been yapping. All right. Let me get out of here, dude. I'm going to make another video on this because I actually only got through like half the podcast. So I got to listen to it. That'd be funny if the next half of the podcast was just like, actually, don't listen to anything I said. This is all wrong. I'm like, damn it. But yeah, dude, I'm going to get out of here. So yeah, dude, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.